Hey, it's Clay Trader at claytrader.com. In this quick tip video, I want to talk about a concept that we've all heard that seems very obvious. However, and I include myself in this, with so many people, they don't do it right. They get frustrated, they veer off the path, even if they're on the right path. But it's one of those things where you just have to stay persistent. And it revolves around the saying, practice makes perfect. I'm sure you've heard it, but I want to put a twist on it because practice makes perfect is actually only a half truth. And maybe you've heard the correct saying, but let's just hop into it. I want to give you a visual. That way, if you are struggling with some of these things, you can kind of picture what's going on and the journey that you are on. So the first portion that we have is going to be over here, and this is difficulty. So difficulty, meaning the higher up in this area you are, the more of whatever you're doing is in terms of difficulty. The next portion over here, we have amount you quote unquote do. So in this case, it's more than likely going to be, studying some sort of area in charting or studying another area of trading. But you're doing something. Now this is where the very key part and the big separation comes. Practice makes perfect. But is it? Why is that only a half truth? Well, down here below, we have what I call the habit zone. And this is very important because, as traders, we don't want bad habits. But how actually do bad habits form? Have you ever thought about that? Even just from a psychological perspective or just anything. How do bad habits form? But on the same token, how do good habits form? Well, it all starts down here, and it starts at what I'm going to call the decision point. So right here, this is our decision point. And the decision point here is, are you going to do things properly, or are you going to do things kind of, I'm going to do things my way? Well, hopefully your way is right, because if not, you're going to start to form some really bad habits. So here we have, let me change up the color. We have the proper way, and then we have, quote unquote, my way. Now the proper way is going to lead to good habits. The my way maybe leads to good habits, but odds are going to lead to bad habits. Because I don't know about you, but when I first got started trading, I thought I knew what I did, but luckily for me, I quickly realized, look, you bozo, you don't know what you're doing. So I got myself onto the proper path. Now, when you make your decision down here, you're making a conscious effort. Am I going to give myself good habits or bad habits? So now look at this, and as we go this way, you start on your journey. Hopefully you have chosen this path right here, the proper way and the good path. That way, as you work your way this way, you're going to form habits. So back up to this portion now, what we have is, let me grab another piece of chalk, is going to be the habit line. So this up here is known as the habit line. So I want you to look at what happens as you go with time. Again, I should probably quantify that. This just represents time or your journey, however you want to look at that. But as you go on your journey, look what happens here. So let's do another translation here. Right here, so if you translate that down to time, right here, where is the line up here? It's all the way up here. So where are we at on the difficulty level? You start here in your journey, time, you're starting the amount you've done of whatever. So let's just take, for example, for me, I wanted to learn technical analysis and the use of charts. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to start learning charts. But when I first started, have I done much? Was my amount of doing anything? No, because I just got started. So I was right here early on in my journey. So up here, were they difficult? Did it seem very confusing? Yeah, it seemed pretty confusing. I mean, it's not exactly, it's not rocket science, but at the same time, it's a little more difficult than counting to 10. However, it's very learnable. But regardless, I was here. But as I progressed, so now I got right here in my journey. Learn some more, so let's map that up. So now I have done more. The amount I did was more. So you can see I made big progress. I started to learn more and more. And notice how this line never hits that line. The reason for that is you can never stop learning. There's always something new to learn. So no matter how much you do, there's always going to be a little bit to learn, and there's always going to be a little bit of difficulty out there just because you're always trying to learn. Unless you know everything in the world, there's always going to be a little bit of difficulty. And that's what this line here represents. why it doesn't go straight down, because right here, always something to learn. But don't get frustrated, because what's going on here in economics terms is the law of diminishing. Good thing I trade stocks and I'm not a spelling teacher. Law of diminishing returns. Meaning, the more of something you do, the easier it gets. Now, the more of something you do, the easier it gets. What happens if it's a bad habit? The more of something you do, the easier it gets. Your habits. The more you do, the less difficult it becomes. So that's why the true saying is right here. Perfect practice makes perfect. Because you can practice all you want, but if you're practicing and it's, I'm going to do it my way, and your way is just stupid, then yeah, practice, it's going to get easier, the difficult level is going to go down, and hey, but all you're doing is forming a bad habit, and it's not going to get you anywhere in the long run. So point being, right here, maybe you've already started trading, and maybe you're not doing as well as you would like. Just be honest with yourself, reassess and say, at my part in the journey, did I really go and do something proper? Again, for me, it was I want to learn technical analysis. And technical analysis, I think any trader can agree, is a very important tool and a very wise, a good path to be on. It is a proper decision. So I have now formed over time the good habit of using charts, managing risk, all that sort of stuff. Now I still have plenty to learn, and I'm always going to be learning, but very crucial time. So if you've kind of already gone on a journey, you can always head back and say, what? Maybe I need to reassess the situation and figure out, am I really on a good path, or am I just giving myself bad habits by just doing things over and over again? And if you're not having consistency or just always feel like you're guessing, then odds are you're probably not on a good path and you probably have quite a few bad habits. So bottom line, perfect practice makes perfect. If you're out there practicing bad ways and forming bad habits, it's going to happen. But just remember, the more you do of something and the longer it goes by, the less difficult it becomes. And if you're doing a bad habit, you don't want bad habits to become less difficult. You don't want bad habits to become easy. And that's what happens, from the psychological perspective. Economics and psychology go great together, but that's exactly what's going on. So again, perfect practice makes perfect. Keep that in mind as you go on whatever journey in your trading career that you're currently at. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and like I said, the concept is nothing new. Maybe the whole perfect practice makes perfect is something new. But keep this in mind and start to form good habits, and the only way you're going to form good habits is to put yourself on the right path. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button down below. If you're watching this on claytrader.com, please click the share button up above. Little clicks like that go a long way. And finally, leave a comment. I like to hear from the community or people that are thinking about joining the community, and I do my best to interact in a very timely fashion. So thanks again for watching. Remember, trade without emotion.